Here we go.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Latest with Laura. We got a special guest tonight because we're having a major thunderstorm, and it's always nice to have her join the calls anyway. She's a great testimonial. She was diagnosed with some malignant misbehaving cells, I think 3 years ago, where they said, maybe she has a few hours to live, maybe a week. That was 3 years ago. She is completely fine, but she is afraid of thunder, and so she is on my lap. And anyway, let's talk about redox signaling molecules. I'm so happy to see everybody here. This is great. Okay, so what is in this amazing blue bottle? Well, there's two things on the front of the bottle that I don't agree with. One says cell signaling supplement. It's not a supplement. A supplement is something that completes or enhances something else when added to it. Yes, it's going to make things work better, but it's actually a bioreplenishment. It is not natural. Natural is like blueberries and lemons, and which are wonderful, but this is native to your cells. You're making it every single moment of the day. Your mitochondria make it. And you could go for maybe 3 weeks without food, maybe 3 days without water, maybe 3 minutes without oxygen. You can't last 3 seconds without your redox signaling molecules. And as you age, you're making less and less and less of them. So you have a lot of them when you're little, but then once you get into your 20s, you make about 10% less every single decade that you age. So once you get into like your 50s, you're quite depleted. And so this just restores what should be in your body. And it's the main component of helping your cells heal. So, if a little kid falls, it's usually not a big deal. But if a 90-year-old falls, like, uh-oh, it's because they don't have as many redox signaling molecules. And how does it work? It helps with cellular communication. So it amplifies and it clarifies signals between and within the cells. So they're just talking to each other better, and kind of wakes up the inner doctor in your cells and makes them go like, oh, there's a problem that we have to deal with. And it boosts your antioxidants. So efficacy of glutathione goes up by about 800%. Superoxide dismutase goes up by about 500%. That just means your immune system is going to be really fortified. I tell people I haven't had to buy Kleenex since 2016, which is when I started this. And then what's so exciting to me is that it turns on genes. So it affects the genetic expression in a positive way for your cardiac system, your immune system, your inflammatory system, your digestive system, and your hormone modulation. So simply put, it just makes your cells work better and heal faster. Every single health challenge involves cells. And I would love to share my screen. Can I do that, Beth? I'm going to show you a little video if technology cooperates with me. Okay, thanks, Beth. Okay, so I'm going to go clickety-click here, and I'm going to click that. And let's see, technology is my friend. There we go. Watch this. Beth, is this working? Can I get a thumbs up? Great. So basically there's 2 dead roses, and the nice person gives one of them some water, and the other one gets some ASEA. Are you seeing my screen still?
Yeah, we can see your screen. That is, I never get sick of watching that. I feel like literally, like the rose is like raising its little leaves like up, like it's coming to life. Like it just blows my mind. What an amazing video.
I know. I know. It's crazy. Okay, let me just close that. And plants don't know anything about placebos. You know what? And neither do dogs. And so we've got a great dog testimonial. Hang on, I just want to check out the chat. There we go. Is Lori Lefort in here? She's got a great dog story. Where tonight it's going to be all about vision, but I know that she's traveling. She's like, maybe I'll get on, maybe I won't.
Shannon is
Okay.
on.
Shannon's on. Okay, well, let me just talk about Lori's story. And then we'll have Shannon hop on. So Lori is this amazing ASEA associate. Hey, Shannon. Okay. Oh, darn it. There we go. And she was sharing the good news about Redox with someone whose dog was told that their eyeballs just simply were not going to work, and that it was just dead tissue. And so Lori introduced them to ASEA, and they started spraying the ASEA into the dog's eyeballs. And within a week, when you pull back the eyelid, you could see blood vessels. And the dog could see. The dog could see within a week. And let me explain how that can happen. So once again, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go to one of my favorite, if I can figure this out, websites, and it's discoverredox.com. And I love this website. There's just so much to it. But if anybody is ever just like, hey, is there any science to this? Yes, this product is not on trial. And if you go to ASEA Redox and click on the science and just scroll down, there's all these great studies. My favorite is when you scroll to the bottom, you can look at this gene study, the Tourette Labs gene pathway study. And let me get these people into, sorry, admit. There we go. If you scroll down in the Tourette gene study, it talks about how ASEA will specifically turn on the genetic pathways that support your cardiac system, your immune system, your inflammatory system, your digestive system, and your hormone modulation. And then they further explore gene EGR1. With gene EGR1, all these other things get affected in a beautiful way. To me, it's like if you're turning on a light switch and it's like the master control switch and all these other things get lit up. So when you turn on gene EGR1, well, your serotonin production is going to be better. That's your happy hormone. So people have less anxiety. They just feel good. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, you're going to think better, remember better. The circadian rhythm, you're going to sleep better. NRF2 pathway, that affects your antioxidants, your immune system's going to be fortified. This is the one I want to talk about, but just let me say this helps with stem cells, it helps with fertility, it helps with inflammatory responses, insulin, the thyroid, the health of the spinal cord, so much. But the one that we're going to talk about tonight is VEGFA pathway, and that involves angiogenesis. And so basically what that means is more capillaries are going to grow. How fantastic. If you have more blood vessels in your body, that means you're going to have more oxygen delivered throughout your body. Let me admit somebody. There we go. So more oxygen, more nutrients, and also the removal of more cellular waste. So that's why I think the dog could see. And dogs don't know anything about placebos. Now let me call on my beautiful friend Shannon, because she's got a great eyeball story. Shannon, can you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yep, I hadn't eaten today to speak of, so I was trying to get it in before I spoke. So yeah, I was just sitting down to do my bills one day and said, "Oh, I better go get my glasses because I'm doing my bills. I'm over 50. My arms are too short. I've worn glasses, needed them all my remembering life. And so I realized that when was the last time I wore them? I don't know where they're at. Like I have no idea where they're at. So I got thinking about it. I was like, well, I haven't worn these in like, I don't know, at least 10 days that I knew of. That's why I didn't know where the glasses were at. And I have several pairs, but I didn't know where any of them were at. And so I was just kind of in shock that I realized I didn't need them. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. That's why I haven't worn them. I don't need the glasses anymore. Like I was reading a lot too, because I was a student at the time. And so, or I had just, I'm not always a student, but anyway, so I was reading a lot, and I needed them mainly for reading and like up close work. And I used them for driving too, but mainly at night. And the thing about it is I was in healthcare or eye healthcare for over 20 years. I retired about 11 years ago, and actually almost to the day. But and so this was over a year ago that I no longer had to wear eyeglasses, and it was not something that I was looking for. So it was just a residual effect, which is funny because you would think I would be looking for that. But just, I was doing other things. I was eating a better diet, doing more movement, breath work, and things like that. But I'd been doing those things before I added the ASEA. Now I was using the ASEA, and I had bumped up to about 8 ounces a day. And I was using the gel on my face, on all my broken capillaries, on my ankles, and I also had a lump in my breast that I was using it on it, and so cystic things. And so the cyst is now gone. It was gone within months, and it did take a little bit of time. And then, but the eyeglasses was, and I'm still not wearing eyeglasses. Now it's not just my vision glasses that I don't wear anymore. Let me also say this. It's also, I don't wear sunglasses anymore either. I mean, if I'm going to be on the lake all day, that's just, the glare. For glare reasons, I'll wear them. But to prevent damage to me, I don't wear those anymore. And you have to take into account that I was teaching people for 20 years that you have to have eyeglasses to see because of this, because of X things going on, and you can't change it when you get over 40. Like your arms are just going to be too short. You're either going to have to take your glasses off or get bifocals, or you're going to have to put bifocals on so you're not looking for your glasses all the time, whatever it might be. But it wasn't just that. It's also, just the blurred vision for everything, which is astigmatism, was also corrected. So I know there was a lot of glutathione production involved in this. And now, Laura, you were talking about the capillaries, being more, but we don't have capillaries on the front of our eye, right? So it doesn't mean that we don't have more growing around that area, because when we blink is when we get nutrition, like blood brings those vessels and capillaries bring it to the cells. We do that on the front of our cornea when we blink. So it's called tear film. And so how healthy that tear film is really important, how hydrated you are, what type of hydration you have. So it's really important for minerals and the cells to work properly. And you'll notice these things not only in the tissue in the front of the eye, but the back of the eyeball too. It's, and then of course we deal with cholesterol or cataracts. All of these things, if our cells are working better, all of those things, can really be reversed, because our bodies are so amazing. When given the correct environment, they can really thrive. And I'm just really excited to be able to have this, this tool to help have the redox signaling molecules so that my cells know what to do and can remember, because so many of us have brain fog from the world we're living in. Our cells are no different. They have that brain fog too. So really getting that cleared up has really made a big difference in my life. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I really appreciate your testimonial and you being here and just you. You're such a fabulous person. Okay, so here's some more eyeball stories for you. I promised I would talk about a story involving fire ants. So when I'm with my husband, he wants all of my attention, which I understand. And I have a really hard time not sharing the good news about redox with anybody. If I see somebody limping, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to help them. I want to give them some of this. Well, that's going to make my husband kind of sulk and one of his eyebrows go up. He wants me to be present, which I understand. So we were on a date. We were in Florida. We went to a zoo. I intentionally did not bring any redox with me because I didn't want to be tempted to try to help somebody with that. And I was looking up in the sky so that I could see some monkeys, and a fire ant fell straight into my eyeball, just plunk. And wow, did that hurt? It felt like it was on fire. I lost my vision in that eye. So he had to get me back to the hotel right away. He did. And what we did was I didn't have my spray bottle with me. So I just took the lid off of the ASEA bottle. I poured some ASEA into that lid, and then I just kind of held my eye in it and blinked for a little bit, completely restored my vision, took away all of the discomfort, and it actually helped me see better. So right after that, we went out to a restaurant, and I feel that it is his responsibility to read everything on the menu to me because I don't like carrying my glasses with me, and still with little tiny print, I still need the glasses. And I didn't need my glasses then. I could see everything. So it not only got rid of the fire ant problem, I could read the menu myself. So that was happy. And then I wanted to talk about how these boys were exposed to ultraviolet light because they chose to look into one. There was an ultraviolet light in this kid's basement. The purpose of it was to kill mold that was in the basement. They decided for some reason to look in it for a while. They came up the basement stairs, their eyes were completely red and they were losing vision. The mom knows all about ASEA. So we talked and I was just like, yep, just get it in their eyes and just keep putting it in their eyes. By the next morning, everybody's vision was just fine. And then a similar story, there was a woman who was working on her car. She was wearing protective eye gear, but it didn't go around the edges, and some car battery acid got into one of her eyes. I think it was Dick Walker who advised her. So Dick Walker is a doctor. He is triple board certified in the emergency room care and nutrition and preventative care. And so, and what an interesting guy he is. And he makes so much more money telling people about ASEA than he ever did as a doctor. He has climbed Mount Everest twice. He hiked across Antarctica. He was the doctor for that expedition. Used to own an alpaca farm. Really interesting guy. And as an emergency room doctor, he's like, nope, you don't need to go to the emergency room. Just keep putting the ASEA in your eyes. Every hour that you are awake, spray some into your eyes. So she did. And that process went on for 3 days. It took 3 days, but her vision was fine in 3 days. And she said it was interesting because it felt like little bits of sand were coming out of her eyes. That was the damaged tissue. So this helps repair the cells, but also just get rid of the ones that aren't going to work. It replaces the cells. So there's the car battery acid story. And then I'm gonna talk about my friend. Oh, here's somebody else coming on. Who he's a chiropractor. We've got so many wonderful chiropractors on our team, and he doesn't like wearing glasses, and so he just sprays the ASEA into his eyes every few hours, and he knows when he needs more, when he can't tell the time. When he looks at his watch and he can't see what time it is, he knows spray, and then he can read all the fine print again. He's a funny guy. He's someone, this is just going off on a tangent. He sent me these photographs of wads, clumps of hair. I'm like, why? Why are you sending me pictures of hair? I don't want to see this. And he's like, look, Laura, there's no more gray. All his gray hair was gone. It was just this beautiful brown hair. And so ASEA is also anti-aging. So that's lovely. And then I was going to tell you about, I've lost count of how many people were going to have surgery. I try to be compliant. So instead of saying what they had, I'm just going to say that they had a cloudiness in the lens of their eyes and they were going to have it removed, but they would show up ready for the surgery and the surgeon would be like, what happened? Because you don't have those anymore. So that's happened a number of times. And then I wanted to talk about my buddy Bill Peary. So Bill and his story is number 81. If you go to realredoxresults.com, passwords Redox, all lowercase. He's got a great story. Part of his story is about his wife Jill. So he got a phone call from her many years ago, and she had just been to the eye doctor for a regular routine checkup, and she was out in the parking lot crying, and she had been told that she was going to lose her vision within 10 years. And they went to a lot of other doctors and all of the doctors agreed. So she was sad. And so the kind of situation she had, there's two different versions. One is you can get injections in your eyeball and that can help. And then there's the so-called incurable kind. And she had the incurable kind. But they happen to be really good friends with Tom Beasley, who has won a Super Bowl twice. And Tom called them up, and boy, the ASEA has really helped out Tom's family in a big way. And he said, Bill, I think we can help Jill. She should have this. And she should even put it in her eye. And Jill's like, they got off the phone. She's like, okay, I'm going to drink it. There's no way I'm going to put that in my eyeball. So she took it for 6 months. She didn't really notice her eyesight getting better at that point, but they noticed more energy, more mental clarity, all other really good things, sleeping better, their blood work improved. 6 months after having the product, their pet dog got stung in the eye by a bee. It immediately swelled up. It got all red. And they decided to put the ASEA in the dog's eyeball. In 2 hours, the dog's eye looked completely normal. So then Bill was just like, I think that you should put this in your eye. And Jill was like, no. But then a week goes by and Jill accidentally picks up her curling iron at the wrong end and burns her hand. And instead of putting ice on her hand, she decides to soak it in the Redox. Within a couple of hours, her hand is just fine. There's no burn, no swelling. And it was at that point that she said, okay, I'm going to put it in my eyes. And her vision, fast forward more than a decade, is better than it originally was. So that's Jill's story. And then I can talk about my husband. It's not a really involved story, but every year he goes for his yearly checkups and his vision is better. So he still gets prescriptions, but each time the prescription is less and less and less and less. And I think that might be all of my eyeball stories. Yeah, probably so. Let me stop recording. Or Beth, tell me how to do that. Do I do that or do you do that?